to a person holding an office shall include reference to a person acting in such office. And then it goes further in section 318, subsection 4, to say that the Interpretation Act shall apply for the purposes of interpreting the provisions of the Constitution. If you go to section 11 of the Interpretation Act, cap 123 of the Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, it states very clearly that if the exigencies of the moment demands, that the president can make an appointment to get somebody to act in a certain institution in an acting capacity. Nobody, including myself, is saying that the person who is occupying that particular office now is occupying the office in a substantive capacity. No, because for you to occupy the office in a substantive capacity, you must, the president must go before the Council of States and also go before the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So I think that the government of the situation is that we have a situation where the National Assembly is still trying to find its feet, put his house in order for it to begin to receive letters from the president. And we also have a situation where the presidency or the paraphernalia of office of the presidency has just been elected and they are trying to find their feet in dealing with multiple challenges. So I think that if we put these things in context, we will understand why the appointment has been made and why we are in this situation we are in now.
Okay. Hold on, sir. Okay. Let's get the lawyer to respond to that.
He raised legal issues here. That is to say the appointment of whether acting or substantive. I said it here. The president has the prerogative. But the point is, when you are making the appointment, it must be made in accordance with provisions of the law. Even the acting one, the letter purporting to appoint the lady into acting capacity, stated that it was said that her tenure was being abridged. That automatically made it unlawful, illegal, because that was amending the Constitution. That's what I'm saying. So the basis upon which even she was appointed by the president was unconstitutional, because we have now amended the Constitution, and the president, as powerful as he is, does not have that power to amend Nigeria's Constitution. I agree with my learned friend that, look, the president has the prerogative. I even stated it myself before his own intervention. But that power is subject to the law. And the law says Mrs. Zachary would shall stay on till July 21st. That is the Constitution.
So why would
the president now wrote, or somebody acting for the president now wrote, telling her that, oh, we have abridged that, in contravention of Section 157 of the Constitution.
So why would you think the presidency will want to, bring itself into, this controversy? If I
said I believe it's contrived. I said it before. One, we had enough time to have selected even a substantive. We wouldn't even talk about acting. Why are we acting? Acting for what? You see, this is about the most important position in Nigeria. It's more important than presidential presidency. You know why? That person can determine if Jega wanted. I can tell you today that President Buhari would not be president if he so desired. So it is the most important position in Nigeria. So, and if you remember, prior to this time, Nigerians were not really interested in who became INEC chairman or FEDECO chairman or NECON chairman, because whoever was appointed would be allowed to work until after election. Then the person will become vilified because of his own actions. But in this case, on the announcement of this appointment, people immediately went to town with no, it cannot be, and they gave their reasons. And I'm not talking about the social reasons about whether she's president's younger sister or elder or first cousin. I'm not even addressing that. I'm just addressing the law, because I'm here talking as a lawyer and as somebody who has an idea of what Nigerian politics is all about, which is why I say it is contrived. And not, in my own belief, it wasn't contrived by the president. It was contrived by some other people around him who will use we're talking about the impeachable offenses here. Tomorrow you hear them say they want to impeach the president because he committed an impeachable offense by writing and amending the Constitution in a letter he wrote on June so date. It will be hanging over his head.
Are you sure you're not going? Well, you're not jumping the gun? Okay.
Well, I think I'd like to make 2 points. The first is that this controversy is needless, and this is not the kind of controversy that makes a democracy thrive. Indeed, this controversy is symptomatic of the decay in the Nigerian polity. And also, an indication that the business of state is not running the way it should. Look, in a system, when you say you have a system, it must follow a program. Jega's tenure expires June 30. There's a process, there's a constitutional procedure to get a substantive person. That was not done. Now, the person who is leaving, if Jega wants to behave like the people who are contriving this controversy, the presidency or Zachary herself, he could have as well, he could have kept quiet over his tenureship or even be scheming to get a second term. But the guy, having done the bit he could, says, look, I have had enough. And that's also about the first time we're having something like that in this country, where somebody as powerful as an INEC chairman will say, after this term, please let me go. Now, even Maurice who conducted, the most discredited elections in this country, still wanted a second term. Now, this guy says, look, let me go. In doing that, he caused a letter to the president to say, look, I leave June 30. No communication from the president. And then he handed over to somebody, and then the story continues. The second point I'd like to make is that the president, it is the prerogative of the president to appoint an individual in an acting capacity. And then all the constitutional processes could follow. You remember when President Jonathan appointed Sulaiman Abba, the IG. It was in acting capacity. And then after a while, his papers were processed to the Senate and all of that, and it became a substantive.
So if that is the situation, why?
The problem here, and we also must look at the politics and as well as the legal aspect. The problem here is that the person in contention, her tenure in INEC expires July 21. Assuming she has some more time in INEC, maybe my position may be different. But by the letter she got, like Jega got, like all other commissioners who have left INEC got, had a tenure between so date to so date. As we speak, that woman, in the face of the law, has no business in INEC. By now, she should be back either in Jigawa or where she was working before she came to the commission, as at today. Now, the point that we also must underscore is that our institutions are still fragile. Whether the controversy is contrived by those around the president or by the president himself, my own position is that the buck stops on the president's table. And there's no way I can exonerate him from all of this controversy. Because he, for goodness sake, is the chief executive of Nigeria. And it is expected, he swore on May 29 to defend the spirit, the letter of the Constitution. This act in itself is in negation of that oath of office. And we must put the blame where it squarely belongs. The president has not acted well in this matter. Whatever the reasons, he may need to, address the nation on that. But I also want to say that the way these issues are going, I think it is in the interest of our democracy, it is in the interest of the country for the president to nip it in the bud, to undo the needful. And what is the needful? Begin immediately the process of appointing a substantive, chairperson for INEC. Recall that some people are in court already, challenging, the occupancy of Zachary as the chairperson of INEC. And whatever the court says, as from July 21st, whatever Amina Zachary appends her signature onto in INEC is null and void, like our learned colleagues will say. And I think it's high time